Ellis B. Feaster's Radio Aircheck and Classic TV channel.
And away we go.
Testing. Gotta make sure it's working.
Sure.
I want to have it working. If we're gonna be on the radio, we might as well be on the radio, right? All right, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the greatest city in the world, New York. It's the Thank God It's Friday, Shannon in the morning. On CBS-FM, New York.
And away we go.
Yes, sir.
And I remember this song.
The Morning Zoo Flashback.
Good morning, everybody. The Friday, April the 8th, big show. Shannon. Good morning, Patty.
Good morning, sir.
I want to make sure all the microphones are working.
That's why you were going on mine
earlier. A little thump in there. To my left, in the beautiful Hudson Square Theater, I have my old friend Ross Brittain.
Hi there.
You might recognize his voice as a history of New York radio. Next to him, the lovely Claire Stevens.
Good morning. Lots of applause. Come on,
who went from being a school teacher to a morning show maven. Yeah. New York City.
I like that. I like being a maven.
And the fashion industry. She's all over the place.
Yeah, try to find her history of rock and roll. I tell you what, that was a rocket ride, boy. He didn't know what hit her. One minute.
That's true.
Wait a minute, he's not even going to interview me? Now he says you're okay, come on by.
That's what happened, you're right.
And of course, the Dean of New York Radio, Professor Johnathan B Bell.
Hey, Scotto, how you doing?
And they said it wouldn't last.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at you. You look
looking
about
good,
the
isn't he?
same, less your hair, but you made it up. You got it on your chin now.
Yeah, well, I moved it a little bit, Scott. It wasn't doing so well up there.
John was telling me the story that he was watching one of those new, music talent shows, and Tom Jones is one of the judges, and he said, I watched 3 episodes before I figured out that was Tom Jones.
Oh, Lord.
Wow, a lot of work there.
And Ross looked at him. You know what? People do look different as they get a little bit older.
Just a little.
There is that.
I had a friend of mine, a fella from Canada, and took a look at that new movie we did about Z100 called From Worst to First, and his wife wrote me a note and says, I can't believe it. I couldn't figure out how you got that wife of yours, and then I saw those pictures of you, and you were handsome then.
Wow.
Oh, that's nice.
That was pretty cold.
I know.
But she didn't. I don't think she was trying to be mean. She's not a mean person. I went, yeah, once upon a time I looked like a human.
Scott, you're gorgeous. Stop it.
Yes, you are.
That was a big mess. I went like this. Let me read that again. Maybe I misunderstood that.
Wow.
Big show forecast, partly sunny, chance of a shower today, Ross. I don't think we need any more showers.
No. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, breezy with a chance of afternoon showers and a high of 60. And then Sunday, partly sunny and breezy, the high around 53. Right now, 50 degrees.
Hear that? You see that what I mean, folks? We don't even miss a beat. We don't work together for a few years and we get back together. It's just the same.
A lot of years.
I think I did 5 years as a morning zoo.
Yes.
And then I went to California for a little vacation, then came back here.
Yeah.
And then I did, 20 years with our friend Todd Pettingill over at PLJ. That worked out pretty fine. Now, Patty, I forgot about this, but one of the folks that works here, Chris is his name, he reminded me that this is our 8th anniversary together here.
Yeah.
Wow.
8 years.
Wow.
If you ask me how long it's been, I'd say 3 or 4. I just don't keep track. I don't keep
That's a
track.
long time, 8 years in one place. Let alone you at PLJ. What did you? It was really like 22.
Shut up, Patty. Enough out of you.
You were
Enough
4
out
when
of
you got there.
Enough out of you. Congratulations to the New York Mets. They won their opening day game in D.C. They look good, too. They were actually able to bring runners in off of, in scoring position, which you don't see the other team doing that. They didn't do that last year. 5-1 final score. And that kid they had pitching, holy cow, he was fine. Everybody was worried. DeGrom was, hurt. He was supposed to open. This kid did fine. Mets and Nats again tonight, 7:05 in D.C. And Yankees opening day is today at the stadium. It'll be packed, 105. Red Sox will be there. Tiger Woods back in the Masters after a long recovery. He played pretty well, shot a 71, dropping F-bomb. He had one F-bomb out there.
There's one under par.
Yep. It's his first competitive round in 508 days.
Wow.
That's a
Rangers beat the Penguins 3-0 last night at the Garden. Devils lost to the Canadians. That's their 5th straight loss. I don't believe they're going to be playing in the postseason. Ooh, that's the word. And Islanders and Hurricanes tonight. Yeah, they lost to the Canadians. 5 in a row they lost. All right, coming up today, we're going to go back and play some memories for you. Some things about Claire, John Bell, Ross, myself, Patty Steele to jump in there. It's going to be fun.
We have tickets, Scott.
Yep. What do we got tickets for?
Tickets to see Joe Coy's 2022 Funny is Funny World tour at the UBS Arena at Belmont Park, Long Island. And we have tickets to see, this is a big one, Elton John's Farewell Yellow Brick Road tour at MetLife Stadium.
It's all happening on the Zoo Reunion Show on CBS-FM. Now, if you'd like to see or hear more about the early days of Z100, you can check out the new 1-hour documentary, Worst to First, the true story of Z100. Scott and Ross in there, the rest of the original Morning Zoo, plus John Bon Jovi, Taylor Dane, Debbie Gibson, and Madonna. You can find it on Amazon Prime and on Apple TV or wherever you get your videos on demand.
And just to be clear, Scott could make a buck off of this, but nothing yet.
City. This is the Morning Zoo Reunion Spectacular.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the big show and the Morning Zoo, all wrapped up as one. I do a shout-out to James Robert Johnson, listening to us in West Valley City, Utah.
Wow.
And we got some people in Tampa, Florida, checking in this morning. I guess the word got out that this is all happening. And I got Patty with me today.
Yeah,
Ross
please,
over here.
Yeah, and the warden's listening, too. I mean, my wife.
Oh, yeah, she's tuned in.
Yes.
And we're near Philadelphia.
Right.
That beautiful area you live in. And John Bell over here. And Claire Stevens right here. Spent many a morning with them and many a morning with Patty.
Yeah.
I think I work more with Patty than I have with any of these people.
I know. Well, we were at Z for a little while together. We were at PLJ for a long while. And now
here,
for
8 years together here at CBS-FM. Now, when we first started the Morning Zoo, we didn't have the best lineup yet. We didn't have
Hey, wait a minute. This is the lineup.
No. I'm just saying when we first started, it was J.R. Nelson and me.
He was fabulous, though.
Unfortunately, he's not around anymore. We had to look out the window to see what the traffic was. We had a low to no budget operation. And we also found this young kid who was willing to work for just about, pennies. And he just lost his job as a football player in the Meadowlands. He played for, anybody remember the New Jersey Generals?
Oh, the Generals, yeah.
Remember that team? Yeah. Well, he was on that team. His name is Kevin Smith, and we found him. We said, why don't you come up and work with us? What do you want me to do? You're going to be on the radio, Kevin. And now he's found a much more suitable career. He is a teacher. And he's checking in right now. Good morning, Kevin Smith.
Is this the daddy-o on the radio?
Don't start that. Don't start that stuff. Now you have a real job now, right?
I have about 5 of them. Yeah, 100%. I teach at the University of Pittsburgh and run a department, and then I also make movies out in Hollywood. So I have a lot of miles on me at this point. Have we
seen any of the movies that you made?
You may have. One of them was movie Pride with Terrence Howard, Bernie Mac.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun.
I'm not doing as well as you are making movies.
Yeah, okay.
Have you been able to make any money yet making your movies?
I think so.
A lot more than I made at Z100. I can say that.
Refresh our memories. How did you wind up on our radio show?
That's so funny you say that. First and foremost, obviously you guys are my Zoo family, and I love you guys with all my heart. And Scott, honest to gosh, came up for an interview, and Scott was sitting in his office with his shorts on, and literally it was dark. And I go, hi, I'm Kevin. And he goes, yeah, that's good, man. That's cool. And I immediately was terrified. I thought I was going to get mugged by him, to be honest with you.
Yep.
And the next thing I know, he said, here's the deal. I'll let you be on air, but you got to prove yourself. You got to work in the mailroom. You get to cover sports. I made many a trip to Arista Records to pick things up, to come back and forth from Donnie Einer's office. And it was grueling. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was the greatest experience I can imagine.
I'm sorry I asked you. What a story. We had several nicknames for him, didn't we?
Oh, great. Here
Captain
we go.
Kevin.
Captain Kevin.
Panther of Love.
Captain Kevin.
What was that, Claire?
The Panther of Love.
The Panther of Love.
Yeah. Well, at that time, he was a single man, and he was on the prowl.
Oh, thanks a lot.
I would never have said this to him then, but he was a very handsome young man, and ladies did seem to be attracted to him.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah,
he's
the blind ones, maybe. But,
It's funny because he was a very innocent fellow. I said, man, you got to get going. You got to take advantage of some of this stuff, man.
Yeah, I was like the Black Opie. For God's sake.
The Black Opie. There is no Black Opie.
You're talking to him.
Yeah, you're talking to him, right? Absolutely.
Captain Kevin, you're a happily married man now. You got a couple of great kids, right?
Yeah, I have actually one 18-year-old who just got a college scholarship to play baseball.
Really?
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, what do you actually teach at the university?
Okay, so I have the weirdest title of Director of Undergraduate Studies Broadcast, Senior Lecturer, teach screenwriting, and my class is literally, I have a class that starts at 6:30 this morning, and it's a 1-hour live TV show that airs on the CBS station in town.
And you got to go, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. My students they're literally looking at me right now.
Captain Kevin, first of all, he's on the cover of one of our Zoo albums, and you can see what he looks like if you have one. But the thing about it is, if I had a look at your resume, would you have your time at Z100 on there?
Yeah, yes, it would. I would not have a career in film and teaching broadcasting if it was not for Z100. Yeah, you guys are, so the bottom line is, I'll be very honest with everybody. Scott is the one who launched my career. No. Too bad. Happy anniversry, too.
We got to go to work. Get out of here.
Quit sucking up.
Captain Kevin, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, guys. I love you all so much.
What a nice guy.
Such a sweetheart.
Now, we had Joe Coy on the show yesterday.
From bed.
Remember? And we have a pair of tickets to see him in concert at the UBS Arena. If you are listening to us and you're not in the audience live here.
Oh, sorry.
Don't worry, you'll find something. We'll get something for you. But be caller 10 right now. I got my number.
Oh.
800-367-1101. Just took a second. I got it. Caller 10 gets a ticket to see Joe Coy right now. 6:31. Captain Kevin's reporting for duty, and so are we on CBS-FM.
You're on CBS-FM with the Big Show Morning Zoo Reunion.
Hi, I'm Scott Shannon.
We had so many young people who came through our radio station. Some of them were, awesome, worked out great, like Anita Bonita, who's here today. Others didn't work out so great.
You got to give us those names. Who didn't work?
No names. But there was one fellow who kind of stuck out from the rest.
Oh, you mean No, not Captain Kevin. Mr. Leonard. He was the one. Although
that's Bell's fault. That was his guy.
Yeah, you hired him.
He didn't show up all the time, and when he did, he was running late. That was his thing.
What was he? Later than a dog.
Sicker than a dog.
Here's an example right now.
He probably went back to bed. He's still sleeping.
No, I don't think so.
Answer the phone, Mr. Leonard.
He's probably gone already, Scott.
Maybe he's on his way.
Yeah.
No, if he was gone, the answering machine would pick
He
up.
probably forgot to turn it on.
He's there. He'd forget his.
Who is this? Hello?
Good morning, Mr. Leonard.
Who is this? Huh?
Scott and Ross.
Oh, Scott, I told you, I'm on my way. I'm on my way right now.
What do you mean you're on your way?
Yeah, I'm on my way right now. What do you think I called you?
Wait a minute. You didn't call us. We called you, Mr. Leonard. We called you at your home.
Oh, well, no, I'm not at my house. I told you I'm on my way.
Mr. Leonard, you couldn't be on your way.
We called you at home.
No,
You're lying to me, Mr. Leonard. You're not on the way. You're in your bed sleeping. You're lying.
No, I'm not lying, Scott.
We called you. Your home phone number.
Haven't you ever heard of call forwarding? Okay, yeah, look, I can't talk and drive at the same time.
Goodbye, Mr. Leonard.
I'll tell you now, I'll be there 10 minutes.
Goodbye.
Sicker than a dog.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
Remember those words?
Totally.
Mr. Leonard. Hopefully, I asked him to come in today. If not, could you please call?
Oh, yeah.
At least check in. Let us know what's going on. There's a gentleman who's with us today from Red Bank, New Jersey, and he was the unofficial zoo historian.
Oh, boy.
He remembers everything. He recorded everything. Man, there's some shows I wish he'd have thrown away. His name is Charles Manu, and he's with us. Morning, Charlie.
Good morning, Scott.
Lean a little bit closer there.
All right.
So what got you into collecting zoo tapes?
Well, I've always been a radio geek. I've always had a love for radio. And as you know, back when the zoo came on, I was working full-time as an engineer in another radio station.
Right.
And, at first I heard the program driving into work. But then after the first...
You hated it, didn't you, first of all?
No, I really didn't have time to take that much notice.
No opinion.
That's a good way to listen to it, really.
Yeah.
But finally, it caught on. And being an engineer...
About 2 years in?
About 2 years in.
Yeah.
I had some recordings before that. But being an engineer, I was able to rig up what I'm going to call an analog automation system where I could, where the tapes would automatically record. And years later, when I finally slowed my schedule down a bit, I was able to just take the time to start going through the tapes, digitizing them, isolating all these classic bits.
Charlie, thank you so much. Without you, we wouldn't. There's a lot of things that we don't have, and I'd call Charlie and say, "You got the day when Claire Stevens came up with those news briefs, underpants that the men were clamoring for?" I got that somewhere, Scott. I'll dig it up.
Well, don't worry. There's still a lot of good stuff to come.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, my friend. 6:50 at CBS-FM. It's the Morning Zoo reunion on The Big Show.
This is a message from the American Medical Association. The man you are about to hear is Robert Korch, 38 years old, father of 4, from Des Moines, Iowa. He was a normal man until a year ago, when he contracted a disease that strikes 1 in every 200 million Americans. Robert Korch has Elmer Fudd's disease.
Hello. I have been afflicted with a very, very dreaded disease.
I'm driving in my car.
Flashing back to the 80s.
Hey, Scott!
The Morning Zoo reunion on CBS-FM.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for listening to CBS-FM. It's the Big Show, powered by our friends at Leonard's today. They provided breakfast for the crowd this morning.
Where is Stu? I want to see him.
I don't think Stu's hanging around here this morning.
That's the most amazing spread of food
he smells.
I
What did he say? He smells like smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Ham smoke or
His
something.
wife makes him take a shower in the garage or something.
They have a shower in their garage. When he comes home, Kim says, you got to get the...
Hose yourself down, buddy.
You better hose your body
He's
down.
adorable.
You smell like smoke, ham smoke or some kind of smoke. It's the Friday Big Show and the Zoo reunion. John Bell is with us today. Claire Stevens, the lady of the early morning zoo, and Ross Brittain with today's forecast.
Yeah, it's going to be nice today. Partly sunny with a chance of a shower later on and a high in the lower 60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy and breezy with a chance of afternoon showers and a high around 60. Right now, 49 going up to 62 in Midtown.
We got Dino on the board this morning. Andre's producing this mess, and Patty Steele by my side. You got a special event going on, right?
Well, we have a P1 listener, Mark Friedman, and his daughter is getting married tomorrow, Dana. He said, I'd love to be there, but kind of getting ready for the wedding. And so we wish her the very best. She's wonderful. She actually helped me line up my vaccine, 2 years ago or whenever we started getting the vaccines.
What a sweetheart.
She was wonderful. Yeah, really,
You old
really
line
wonderful.
jumper, you.
Well, we love Mark and Dana. You're amazing, and happy day tomorrow.
Congratulations to the New York Mets. They won their first game of the season. Any Mets fans in here today? I'll tell you what, they were all worried about not having DeGrom on the mound. Tyler McGill.
Right.
He looked as good as DeGrom last night. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be that way all season, but he did a great job. They beat D.C. 5-1 last night. The Nationals went down, only had 1 run. They do it again tonight. And the Yankees opening day today against the Boston Red Sox at Yankee Stadium today.
It's a good thing they didn't do it yesterday. What a mess.
It was
What a
hard.
day.
I got to tell you, if you have dogs, that's a rough day. I had to tell. I was in charge of that yesterday. Boy, what a mess that was.
Mine got groomed yesterday, but I brought them home and they needed to go outside. They came back in and poof, they were nothing but curls again.
They looked horrible. One of my favorite memories from the zoo was a young guy who wanted to get into radio. I think when he was 5 or 6 years old, he was a zoo listener, honest to God. He would call I don't even know if you remember this one, John. You got a memory like an elephant. And the guy, lucky enough, turned out he makes his living in radio now. He produces iHeart podcasts.
Wow.
His name is Eric Nagel, but the first time he called us, he couldn't say that. Let's go back
Couldn't say his own name.
Not exactly. He had an alias when he was 5 years old.
It's Eric Lugo.
Eric Noogie?
Eric Noogie.
Eric Lugo.
Eric, what are you doing, man?
I'm just hanging out.
Hanging out. How come you're not in school, Eric Noogie?
Because I have to go somewhere, and besides, I'm sick.
Have you ever thought about changing your name from Noogie?
No, it's not Eric Noogie. It's Eric Lugo.
Is that your kid back there crying?
No, she's not crying.
Is that your daughter?
A niece.
That's your niece? Mm-hmm. Are you married, Eric?
No, not yet.
How old are you, Mr. Noogie?
26.
You are 26 years old, huh? What kind of car do you drive, Mr. Noogie?
Mercury Lincoln.
Mercury Lincoln.
That's gone.
Let me ask you a personal question. What year were you born in there, Mr. Noogie?
19. Wait.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Mr. Noogie? Yo, Eric. Seem to have a bad connection.
Your time is up.
Hello.
You're number one in the whole Bronx area of Co-op City. You're number one.
Who are you?
I'm Ira from the Bronx.
Ira?
Yeah, and I always listen to you and Ross Brittain every morning. That's right.
I'm not so sure whether I'm happy about that or not.
You should be happy. Yeah. Hey, Shannon, where do you tape your show, your TV show?
You're the last person I'd tell that to.
Want to hear a real cute joke? Three little old ladies walking down the street, and they were approached by a flasher. The first little old lady had a stroke. The second little old lady had a stroke. And the third little old lady couldn't reach.
The Z Morning Zoo.
Oh my God!
Was that legal in those days?
Yeah, never. I got to tell you what, we were a family broadcast. That was our aim. But a couple of times we walked right up to the line
and fell over.
And no, I didn't say that. You said that. I'll show you a little example of that in just a few minutes. Also, we're waiting for Mr. Leonard to show up. He promised he'd be here today. I gave him all the directions and everything. So far, no Mr. Leonard. Coming up, your shot to win tickets to see Elton John in concert and more. The Morning Zoo on CBS-FM.
You're on CBS-FM with a Big Show Morning Zoo reunion. The Morning Zoo. And now, more Zoo memories.
We're going back to the early 80s. Back then, we had to have some of the guests actually sing the jingles because our budget.
Well, we spent so much money on the station, on engineering. There was no money for a weatherman.
They could look out the window.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Which we do now.
Look at there. Look what's out there.
We were lucky that they paid us. There was no money for contests, for jingles, for giveaways, other than stuff that they put together the station. The equipment and all that stuff.
Right.
And because there was no money and we were so desperate to have a jingle, we had to have Scott sing the jingle.
Oh, I remember those.
Yeah. Here it comes.
Well, the alarm clock's ringing my head. My body's still screaming, it's a dead. When you can't get to sleep, it's so rough. Getting up in the morning, so tough, so tough. Well, I'm cutting myself when I shave, and my hair won't even behave. There's only one thing left for me to do. Crank it up to the Z100 Zoo. Good morning from the Z100 Zoo. Rise and shine with folks like you. Get up with the morning Z-Zoo. Well, I'm ready to give up the ghost. So sad, 'cause I'm burning my coffee and toast. But I'm doing the best I can do. Getting up with the Z100 Zoo. Good morning from the Z100 Zoo. The Z100 Zoo.
Wow. You could have had a career.
No.
Not as a singer.
I couldn't have a career. I could have a career just as long as I didn't sing.
But we had no money, so you had to.
Yeah, we didn't have any money. Coming up, we got Elton John tickets if you're listening. Big shout out to Mr. John McConnell. He's tuned in today. And I've got a memory. Uh-oh. And I ran it past Ross. He couldn't remember it. I even talked to our historian, Charlie. He didn't remember it. But there was a story that we might have made a little bit of.
Might have.
Because at that time, PLJ was the competitor.
Yeah.
That was long before I got over there. Then it changed a little bit. But there was a time when we would do these little skits about PLJ, and we called them Wimpy Radio.
Right.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
And what we did was they hit some tough times, and they had to move out of New York City because the lease on the radio station was so expensive they couldn't afford it anymore. So we announced that they were moving the studios to New Jersey, a brand new location in New Jersey, and they were gonna operate out of lane 14 of the Brittain bowling alley in Brittain, New Jersey. So we talked about that on the radio, and JR we taped Jim Kerr while he's doing a show, and I said on the radio, I said, I'd like to tune in and see what it sounds like. I've never heard a radio station broadcasting from a bowling alley before. So we tuned in, and we used the tape from the day before of Jim Kerr, and we put the bowling alley sound effects in the background. And I said, well, that sounds pretty good. And Ross goes, no, it doesn't. That's good. You got bowling balls rolling around in the background.
Exactly.
And, they didn't like that. Jim was...
Really?
And I said, if you want to send Jim a note, I'll give you the address. It's lane 14 of the Brittain bowling alley. I think it was on Myrtle Avenue.
Yeah,
Sounds
Myrtle
right.
Avenue.
Still there.
Yeah, the bowling alley's still there?
Yes, it is. You want to go play?
Not only did they have a radio station, you could actually buy shoes there. They used bowling shoes. Coming up, tickets to see Elton John at 8:30 this morning. More Zoo memories on CBS-FM.
Wake up! CBS-FM presenting the Big Show Morning Zoo Reunion.
The Morning Zoo Reunion.
With Scott and Patty and the original Morning Zoo crew. Ross Brittain, Claire Stevens, and Johnathan B Bell.
7:34. Thank you, all the people who decided to come on out in this horrible weather. It's not as bad as it was yesterday.
No, right.
Thank you. You are courageous and faithful.
And thank you to Stu Leonard as well, because he brought a beautiful spread for us for breakfast.
Oh, my God.
I just wish he brought himself. That would have been
I
a big...
saw Claire sneaking back there.
I did.
Claire sneaking back there. Now, our friend Johnathan B Bell is noted for his memory. He's got a great memory, and I don't. I mean, I just worry about what I'm going to do today.
Yeah, well, that's always been the case, Scott.
Nothing new, right?
Now, what are some of your fondest memories?
Oh, well, my fondest memory is one I've never shared with you.
Oh, crap.
And that's because I was on the show. My tenure on the show was very tenuous in the beginning.
It was tenuous.
Nobody was sure what I was going to do.
There's a big question mark on that.
Exactly. But you didn't know that there was another side to that story.
No.
Because about 10 days, maybe 2 weeks into the show, one afternoon, the girl I was dating at the time said to me, John, how's the show going? And I said, you know what? We are in big trouble. She said, what do you mean? I said, this guy from Tampa doesn't know anything about New York radio.
Redneck.
He's calling out the top stars. We're going up against the elephants of the radio business, and he's calling Larry Berger Larry Booger, and he was doing this bit we did on the bowling alley thing. I said, you don't treat people like that. Nobody's going to listen to us.
Remember when we flushed all the stations?
Yeah, I remember that.
We had people calling in and made the switch.
I remember when you spent...
What station did you flush? I flushed. Remember, KHK was a country station then, and they flushed WNBC and all the stations, and we had a toilet flush. And the guy who wrote for the Daily News was...
David Hinckley.
No, not David Hinckley.
George Maxion.
George Maxion. This guy hated me.
You know what?
And he did a review, and I'm a new guy in New York, and the New York Daily News, a guy, it's a Z100 horrible radio station. And my wife read that, she said, are we going to be okay? Do we have to move back to Tampa?
Well, tell him the rest of the article. The article said, Scott just flew in from Tampa. I hope he bought a round-trip ticket.
John, when did you start to believe in it?
I started maybe at the end of the first year. It took me.
I wish I'd have known that. I'd have thrown your ass out. No. One of the guys told me, says, Mr. Bell is a little nervous about your being here. I said, what do you mean? Well, he's had job security. He worked at the old station.
Yeah.
He was in charge of the radio tennis play-by-play.
No, more than that, Scott.
No, that's all you did there. Wow. And he told this fellow, he says, should I be looking for another job? Is this going to last? And now Patty had a different deal. She wasn't even living in New York. She was a DJ in St. Louis at the time.
Yeah, I had just gotten out of college. Funny enough, my first job in radio, professional radio, was at a station called Z100.
Wow.
But
in
not this
St.
one.
Louis. No.
St. Louis.
No, it was in a building that had been condemned. We were the only thing still in the building. But they called themselves Z100. And I don't know if it was because of this Z100 or if it was just, it was at 100.3, so...
There's a good chance it had something to do with this one. Now, the thing about it is when we first started, everybody laughed at the station. Remember that, Ross?
Oh, yeah.
They said, Ross, you just got canned over at WABC. Why'd you go there? You're going to get canned again. That guy's terrible. And when we first started, the first radio, remember when the first radio ratings came out?
Oh, yeah.
You people had you were worried.
Well, you know what? I walked into the studio one morning, and here's Ross Brittain with a toy helicopter, holding it up over a microphone and pretending he was Captain Somebody doing the traffic.
Yeah.
I said, you got to be kidding me. This is New York radio. What is this guy doing?
So, John, you didn't believe for the first year. What about you two? Claire, Ross?
Claire was just happy to have a job in radio.
That's true. Oh, no, I had one. I came to Z100 from another radio station.
Yeah, but not a real one.
No, that's true.
So, did you believe right away, or did you say, I'll go for the ride?
You know, I think I didn't realize what it was all about at the time.
Mm-hmm.
What we were
She
building.
had no clue whatsoever.
You didn't know enough to be scared.
And she wound up giving away the Claire briefs, panty briefs.
Well, look what I happened to
She brought them with her. She did not wear them here and take them off.
No, they're clean.
News briefs.
They're clean.
Yes.
Now, let's go back and we redid this for the movie because we didn't have the original tape on this, but this is basically what happened.
October 1983.
The new radio ratings are out. And quite frankly, our little baby radio station, Z100, didn't do too well. We wound up in 20th place, right down near the bottom of the barrel. Well, after the ratings came out, we all got together at the radio station and decided that we're not going to give up that easy. We're going to set a new goal, and we'll reach that goal. We are going to go from worst to first. You heard right. Z100 is going to go from worst to first, and that's a promise. We're going to increase the amount of music we play. We're going to give away even more $100 bills. We're going to buy some advertising on television. We're going to do everything we can to be your favorite radio station. But we need your help. Tell everyone you know about the new Z100. Tell them that we're going from worst to first. Then you can take that to the bank.
I remember back then the radio ratings, they came over the wire, the AP wire.
Right.
And I ripped them. I took it off the wire machine and I came in and I started reading. The new radio ratings are out and we suck. That's what I said. We suck. And I read all of them down. We were actually number 50.
Yeah.
We were number 50. Stations from Philadelphia were beating us.
That's when I started sending out my resume.
Yeah. Looking for another station to carry that play-by-play tennis. You ever heard that on the radio? Billie Jean King. You'd have to make all the sound effects and the
clapping.
Yeah, real
like a golf clap.
Well, things worked out pretty well because 74 days later.
That's it.
Yeah.
And the next radio ratings came out, and they looked pretty good.
Pretty good.
We're going from worst to first.
What I have here are the advanced ratings, and this envelope hot off the presses, has been hermetically sealed in a mayonnaise jar on Funkin' Wagnall's front porch. Okay, here's the scoop. They did it. They went from worst to first.
Scott Shannon's next up.
That's right. He's going to tell us how his station went from worst to first.
Scott Shannon's Morning Zoo took the station from worst to first in 74 days.
And in that short time, lived up to its slogan, from worst to first.
And took the station from worst to first.
The Morning Zoo Reunion.
CBS-FM.
So it worked out all right, John?
Yeah, it did work out.
Okay, you didn't have to go back and find another place to do the play-by-play tennis.
Was that local TV covering it?
Yeah.
Wow, how cool is that?
Yeah.
It was, and then they flew me. I was on Oprah one day. I'm shaking. My hands are shaking. And Oprah says, and Scott Shannon's there. I wasn't so hot on. I wasn't used to doing network television. It was pretty crazy. Anyway, coming up, we got those tickets. Now, is Mr. Leonard coming or not?
No. You know what? He told me he was going to be here on time this morning.
Oh, yeah.
So you know what that means.
He's already an hour and 44 minutes.
Yeah, he's late for on time.
An hour and 44 minutes late already. Coming up, Elton John tickets. It's the big show and the Zoo reunion on CBS-FM.
Zoo in the morning.
Live from New York City. This is the Morning Zoo Reunion Spectacular.
Thank you so much for being with us today. It's Scott and Patty, along with some special guests today, Ross Brittain, Claire Stevens, and Johnathan B Bell, and Mr. Leonard, who will probably be along shortly.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
He might not be feeling too well. I don't know what's going on there. You know, I was just looking at things. Our breakfast provided by our friends at Stu Leonard, and we are in an area where there's 7 different radio stations, Patty?
Yes, sir. 7 of them here.
1010 Wins, News Radio 880, and the Fans here, among others.
Yeah.
And they've done a fantastic job bringing breakfast in here.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at this memo I got last night from Jess Clark.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know her. She's got a long title. She's got about 3 different jobs. She got 3 name tags. And Jess and Lauren run our whole promotion department, and they service all these different. They work for all these different stations.
Careful. They're wonderful.
And I got this whole list. Look at this, Ross. This is how 4:30 a.m. promo team arrival on site at 3:45.
Wow.
Launch B-roll footage. Logo rotation. 5:15 Stu Leonard's delivery in the loading dock. 5:30 James and George at check-in table. 5:40. It's like I'm on some
a movie shoot.
A military maneuver.
Yeah, really.
6 a.m. broadcast begins. No food in the performance space.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
It goes on and on. The whole thing's laid out, and then we come in and screw it all up.
As usual.
It's just crazy. Now, some of the cool things about working here, when we first started, we were located in Secaucus. Although, for some reason, people believed we were in New York.
Well, you kept saying top of the Empire State Building.
Well, that too. But from the Gorilla Building.
Yeah.
Oh,
we do that.
Well, we did have a tower there, right?
When we first started, we couldn't get anybody. We couldn't get anybody to come visit as a special guest, Secaucus. And back then, Secaucus was rooted in the 50s and 60s. Believe me.
Oh, yeah.
It was really something there. John, you knew around. You knew your way around.
Well, I kind of grew up in that area, but Secaucus was just a swampland.
Well, anyway.
So it wasn't anything but
back then, cabs didn't go to that part of the tri-state area. So no one would come over there. The record companies ignored us.
Yeah.
Because they thought we were like a little New Jersey radio station serving Secaucus and Montclair.
But the good news was I was coming out of the city at rush hour and going back after rush, and nobody was going that way. Because that
was your good news,
rush
huh?
hour, yeah.
And remember, we used to say, because the record, we had to buy our own records.
Yep.
Well, honest to God, we had to buy our own records. And at that time, when you're a new radio station, you're just getting started, you play the same songs a lot. Play them like every hour and a half to get people to listen. You play all their favorite songs. So people would call up and complain, and I would tell them, well, that's only songs we got here. We got to play them because that's all there is.
We had 22 records, I think, Scott.
So I said, we're going to send Frankie Blue. He's our assistant music. We're going to send him in. He goes on Thursdays to Tower Records. If there's anything you think he should get, let me know, and I'll give him the shopping list.
Right.
And the other thing, we couldn't get stars to come in. You know the whole story. If you've seen the movie, you know the whole story about our first guest was Tony Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have a record out. He didn't have any. He was,
How'd you get him again?
Well, we had a kid working there. Remember that guy, Ross?
Yeah.
What was his name?
William Brownstein.
William Brownstein worked there. And he was a nice kid, but he was a little nerdy.
How did he get Tony Orlando?
Because he worked. He's like a intern, and he worked at the Jerry Lewis telethon. And he heard me bitching in my office one day. His wife says, I can't believe we can't get anybody to come here and be our guest on the show. No celebrities would come. And he said, Mr. Shannon? I said, what do you want, William? He said, I have a friend of mine who could be your guest. I said, who's that? He said, Tony Orlando. I said, William, how the hell do you know Tony Orlando? He's a friend of mine. How do you know Tony Orlando? Well, because I work at the Jerry Lewis telethon, and he hosts it for New York. I said, all right, I tell you what, you go ahead and get me Tony Orlando.
But he did.
He did.
And want to move over there and then?
Yeah.
And he did. And Tony came over, first guy to do it. And from then on, the people, after the ratings came out, we were number one. What happened then, Claire?
We had really some amazing guests. When I thought back, I've sort of made a list here of people that stand out in my mind. And, we had Sting, we had Billy Joel, Paul Simon. Oh, well, of course, John Bon Jovi. He was up a lot.
And your friend Neil Diamond.
Oh, yeah. I did an in-store appearance with him at Tower Records after that broadcast. Billy
and
Joel,
Eddie Murphy on. I remember that. He came over.
And you mentioned Elton before and Hall & Oates.
What about when Stevie Wonder came over in a van and he had his keyboard in the van?
Yeah, he brought it in.
He brought it up.
And he played while he was on the air. It was great.
He made up a song saying, Z100 has no donuts for me in the morning.
He did?
Yeah, because we used to have donuts in the little green room.
So,
and we didn't have them
I tell you, one of my favorite guests was, does anybody remember Hulk Hogan, the wrestler?
Oh, yeah.
So he comes up there. And he's got this big boat of a car. I don't know if it was a big Lincoln or a Cadillac.
It was a Cadillac, yeah.
It was a big Cadillac. And he made the mistake of parking in somebody else's parking spot. And here's what happened.
Now, does anyone remember the day professional wrestler Hulk Hogan stopped by the zoo?
Yeah, and he parked his car in Mr. Leonard's parking space?
I'm calling downstairs from the payphone and I am mad at that.
What is the problem? Come on.
Some idiot, some pencil neck geek is parked in my parking space.
Someone's parked in your private parking space?
Can't they read it says Mr. Leonard, Leonard. I'm going to hit him upside the head so hard, his pea brain will be rolling around his head for a week. Boy, you might just call the police already. Go ahead and call an ambulance now.
Wait a minute. We could just have it towed, Mr. Leonard. What kind of car is it?
Let me see. Hold on. It's a Cadillac, a red 85.
A red 85 Cadillac parked in your parking place, and you're going to wait downstairs till they come out to get the car and beat him to death.
You better call the ambulance now, Scott.
Hulk, what kind of car you got, man?
Well, you know, man, I've been sitting here just taking all this gaga in from that little old
stiff-wristed Mr. Leonard, and I wanted to tell the dude in person I wasn't going to admit that it was my ride out there,
Yeah, you were
I was
quiet.
hoping that he would come upstairs here, but as far as Mr. Leonard, he don't even have enough credentials to drive a car. The dude talks about a parking spot, man. He don't have no parking spot out there. He couldn't even afford to hire DC cab to bring him over here. And you know what? I'm going to come down there for that Mr. Leonard, and they're going to not only need an ambulance, they're going to need a double-decker stretcher, because when I snap him in half, they're going to put his shoulders and head on
Mr.
the top
Leonard,
of the
I think I
stretcher.
found out whose car that is.
That's right, it's my car.
Mr. Leonard?
I knew it was your car, Huck. I knew all the time.
Oh, Mr. Leonard, that little girlish little laugh you got on there. You probably got Roddy Piper's skirt on downstairs, hiding in the phone booth because, there ain't nobody home upstairs in your brain, and I'm sure there ain't nothing downstairs under that skirt.
Mr. Leonard, I think Hulk's coming down to move the car and speak with you about it, so don't move.
Well, you think you're mad now. Wait till you find out and let out the air out of your tires.
No!
Scott Shannon.
Morning Zoo Reunion.
CBS-FM.
WCBS-FM and WCBS-FM HD1.
Scott Shannon.
Scott Shannon and Patty in the mornings.
New York's greatest hits.
It's great quality music.
An Odyssey station.
Hi, I'm Scott Shannon, professional radio disc jockey and head pronounsticator on the Z100 Morning Zoo. Ever since I was a baby DJ, I had a goal and a special dream: to work at the #1 radio station in America's #1 radio market. And on August the 2nd, 1983, that dream began to come true. It's 8 minutes after 6 a.m., August the 2nd, 1983. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, radio station WHTZ signs on the air. WHTZ is owned and operated by Malwright Communications and broadcast at a frequency of 100.3 megahertz. Signing on the air, this is WHTZ. Time to wake up.
Good evening, sir, and welcome to the David Lee Roth Diner. What are you going to be having for dinner tonight, sir? An excellent choice, sir. Now, would you like the Bozy Bop with that, sir?
Bozy Bop.
Ah, I see. It's the Bozy Bop. So that's one order of Hamala Babala Zebala Bobala, Hamala Babala Zebala Bop with one order of Bozy Bop. Now, would you like anything to drink, sir?
Zitty Bop.
All right, now, if you order the Baked Bozy Bop, the Zitty Bop is only 79 cents. Would you be interested in changing your order now? All right then, sir. That'll be one order of Hamala Babala Zebala Bobala, Hamala Babala Zebala Bop with a side order of Bozy Bop and an extra large Zitty Bop. Ordering one burger, a fries, and a large soda. All right, sir. That'll be $3.85. Will that be to stay or to go? That's to go.
The David Lee Roth Diner for the best Hamala Babala Zebala Bobala, Hamala Babala Zebala Bop you've ever tasted.
Morning Zoo.
Hi, this is Donnie, Jordan K, and John Knight. And guess who we are?
The new kids on the block.
You're listening to the Z Morning Zoo. So wake up now!
CBS-FM.
You're on CBS-FM with the Big Show Morning Zoo Reunion.
Broadcasting live from the Booton Bowling Lanes in beautiful Booton, New Jersey. We're on lane 14. That was the good old days. Now, after our morning zoo, there were some other morning shows, but no morning show came along like this morning show. Say good morning to our friend Elvis Duran today.
Oh, yeah.
Hello,
good
buddy.
morning and happy Zoo Union.
Zoo Union. That's what we should have been calling it. Yeah.
Now,
You know what?
you're on the air this morning. You're still working there, aren't you?
I gotta be honest, I'm a little confused because I was just on Z100, now I'm on TBS, but I'm hearing Z100 jingles. I don't know where the hell we are. It sounds awesome.
Neither do we.
Well, how many years have you sat in that chair?
I got Patty, do you know? I took like 20.
I do.
25?
25 years this year.
Yeah, 25 years.
You know, they said you weren't going to last, and look at you.
And he was on before that in the afternoon.
That's right.
So
The good news is, Scott, even though I've been sitting in this chair for 25 years, it still smells like you.
Wow.
Ew.
And we have you. Do you remember Johnathan Bell?
Well, of course. Absolutely. He's a part of your documentary. I was watching it just yesterday.
He's here with us this morning. Claire also here, and it's so nice of you to check in. I think of all the radio stations that baby DJs want to wind up at to this day, and it certainly is a tribute to the people who follow me. Steve Kingston did a great job, and then along came your friend Tom Pullman. And to this day, Z100 is still the #1 radio station in the world, and you're the morning man.
Well, the number's a little exaggerated, but we'll take it. I love it. But you know what? The people who are in that room right now are the foundation of what we continue to carry the torch for today. I mean, you know, John and Claire and you, Patty, I mean, the whole family. And to hear these bits that you used to play back in the day, oh my God, they sound so awesome and so fresh. I love it. I love the show you're having today.
You're the greatest. So nice to have you. You know, it's good to have a nice person still there in the morning, as opposed to me.
Well, no.
The chair will at some point smell like Elvis. So.
We love you, Elvis.
We love you guys. Congratulations on all your success. And you have a beautiful day, guys.
Elvis Duran has left the building, ladies and gentlemen.
Love you.
I tell you what. He's been so wonderful to us. Patty is closer to him than I am, but I'll tell you what. I mean, they talk fashion all the time.
No, we don't.
She was even invited to his wedding.
I was. That was beautiful.
Rouse Brittain is out there in the audience right now, chatting with a few people who grew up with Z100.
Yeah. What is your name?
Ruthie.
And where are you from?
Queens, New York.
From Ross?
I almost said where you calling from. Yeah. So weird to be in radio for this long. Huh. And how long have you been listening to the zoo?
Oh my gosh, I think I started back when I was 12 years old back in 1983. And I've been listening to since, went right into Elvis and then, got a little older, went to 95.5, and now I'm back in 101.1.
I think you're a stalker.
And we like
Radio
it.
stalker.
And this is your sister. What's your name?
Patricia.
And do you guys live together?
Not anymore.
Oh, all right. Well, just wondering.
You're getting too personal, Ross.
All right, and sorry. I mean, they're sisters. Okay, I could get personal,
that, but people don't want to hear that.
All right. And what do you do for a living?
I work for the buildings department.
Okay, and what do you do for a living?
I work for an insurance company.
Uh-oh, which one?
Chubb.
Okay, gotta go. Back to you, Scott.
Yeah, those were some innovative questions, Ross.
You might be handling my claims over there, Chubb girl. I like that. We talk about the things that you remember, and Patty and I have the same kind of memories because, we had kids who were born while we were on the radio, basically, or at least in the radio business.
Yeah.
And I remember a day back in 1986 when my daughter was born. Oh, my God. And any parent understands this. I'll never forget this. I went to those Mazda classes.
Lamaz.
I learned how to drive that car. And then when the real time came with all that information I was loaded up with, the doctor, your friend Dr. Ladosi, threw me out of the room. He said, "This is going to get a little nasty. You got to go." And so I had to stand outside. But I remember that feeling when I saw this cart coming down. I was out in the waiting room. Remember that when they bring them out the first time?
Oh, man.
It looked like it was a turkey dinner for Thanksgiving, and it had a little glass thing over
and
this is a human coming at me, and I'm going like this. Oh, my God, I'm responsible for this the rest of my life.
St. Barnabas Hospital in Livingston.
Yeah.
You guys had it easy. When my first was born, I wheeled my wife up to the door, they took her in the
And
room
dropped her off.
Yeah, and this giant nurse who was about 6'7" looked at me and said, "Okay, little boy, we don't need you anymore."
Take a hike.
Wow.
Well, the great thing about Kathleen Shannon is she had a friend there when she was born. You can hear it right now.
Hi, this is Scott Shannon. You know, there's been plenty of great memories for us since we started the zoo. I think my favorite memory happened on June 25th, 1986.
Yeah, that's it.
That was the day my little baby DJ Kathleen came into the world.
Yeah, and you left the zoo all alone with Murphy and Mr. Leonard.
Good morning. You've reached the top drawer, the very bottom floor of the Z Morning Zoo.
Murph, I'm live here on the scene reporting from an unnamed Midtown Manhattan hospital.
Right?
Where at 2 a.m. this morning, Trish gave birth to an 8-pound, 10-ounce baby girl, Kathleen Hunter Shannon.
Mr. Leonard, you sound nervous and upset, man.
Murph, you don't know what I've been through.
I bet Scott was a nervous wreck.
He's a nervous wreck. Look at me. I was a mid-husband.
You were a mid-husband? Wait a minute.
I've been walking up and down, pacing the floor. Scott almost passed out. It was a natural birth. She was naturally screaming her head off.
No.
It's a beautiful baby girl. Kathleen's got big old blue eyes, too, just like her daddy. I better go back and check on her. It's been a hell of a night. I'll be calling back in a little while to give you an update.
CBS-FM and the big zoo reunion. It's time to win right now if you like Elton John.
Yes! Win 2 tickets to see him at the beautiful new UBS Arena, just opened in November. It's gorgeous. Call 800-367-1101 and identify today's mystery song.
For God's sakes. Everybody in the room raised their hands.
Can't win
but
here.
None of them are eligible. None of you people. Darn it. 800-367-1101. It's 8:33. Still no Mr. Leonard. Let's roll with Bruce.
Flashing back to the 80s.
Are you telling me you built a time machine?
It's the Morning Zoo Reunion Show on CBS-FM.
It's the big show with Patty and Scott and the rest of the crew, and it's a zoo reunion. And it just so happens to be opening day at Yankee Stadium. Yankees and Red Sox today. Now, our assistant at that time was Anita Bonita. And she came up to me and asked me a question. What was that? Your microphone's dead. You turn that on?
Thank you. Yeah, Anita came up and said, Scott, do you remember how we got that Bruce Springsteen song? And she said,
You sent me to Newark Airport to pick up a tape from Cleveland. And that came in, and came in at 2 minutes before 2 o'clock in the afternoon, just as you were about to go off the air. Didn't have time to do anything but rack up the tape and let it roll all over the metropolitan area.
So we weren't supposed to have that then.
No, we were not. We had a special delivery from Cleveland because a guy got it from a guy who got it from a guy who got it from a
got it from a cousin.
Not traceable, right?
Now, our friend Kenny Lane, who was started out as a valet driver for our music director at the time. That was your first job, right?
That was driving Michael to work.
This guy didn't know how to get to Secaucus. He was our music director. And he didn't drive.
Nope.
So Kenny Lane came in there. And later on, we promoted him because he was such a good guy. You used to take him over to Tower Records too. So we could pick up some new songs.
We would. We had no music, so we had to go out and buy.
Yeah, that's it. And then later on, he became our promotional director. Did an excellent job. There's a lot of stories in there. We don't have time for them today.
And then huge in the record business. Don't forget that part of it.
Now, he went on to fame and fortune. Yeah. And a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful kids.
Three
beautiful kids.
Well, 2 of them are beautiful.
One of them's a little homely. Wow. No, they're all 3 great.
Sorry, Ryan.
Now, if you were a regular listener of the Z Morning Zoo back then, you know that we were a family type of show for the most part. But every so often, I've been told that we jump the tracks. Why are you looking at me like that, Rob?
I'm just wondering what exactly you're referring to.
Well, there was an episode of The Young and the Wimpy that we did. This was kind of controversial, but like you said earlier, like John pointed out, very rarely did other radio stations refer to another radio station.
Not by the call letters.
And we actually talked about the competition. And we renamed the program director of WPLJ, whose name was Larry Berger. We called him Larry Booger. And I actually played the part of him once in a while. So this is every day is a new episode of The Young and the Wimpy. He worked at Wimpy Radio 95.5. And there were some people who thought this was just a bit over the line.
I turned my radio on the other day. What? You know, the box with a dial on it that plays the music. Oh yeah, we know. I listen to Z100. They're number one. Really? They really blew the wimp away. Wimpy. Larry Booger.
My name is Larry Booger and I don't know what to do. They always stupid with me on the Z42.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another exciting edition of The Young and the Wimpy. When we last left our story, little Larry Booger, program director of WIMP Radio, was busy filling in for the vacationing court reporter at the Manhattan Criminal Courts Building.
Whoo-hee, this certainly is be exciting for the Larry Booger, being in a real court of law here, being the court reporter for the WIMP Wimpy Radio 95. Let me get a little seat here for the court to start.
All right. First case. Please, ma'am. You look a little pregnant there. What's the problem?
Yes, my husband is away on military duty for the last 7 months, and I'm pregnant.
If your husband's been away, how in the world did you get pregnant?
Well, Your Honor, my house is haunted. A ghost did it.
You mean to tell me that you had sexual relations with a ghost and he made you pregnant?
Yes, Your Honor, that's right. You got it.
I find that extremely preposterous, and what's more difficult to believe. As a matter of fact, is there anyone in this entire courtroom that's ever had sex with a ghost?
No, not me. Hold on a minute, I have. How about me, the Larry Booger? I've done that same thing.
You've had sex with a ghost?
Whoo-hee, yes, I have, Your Honor.
Well, approach the bench, sir. Now, where did this happen?
It happened behind the WIMP radio station where I worked at.
Now, wait a minute here, young lad. You mean to tell me you were behind the radio station and you had sex with a ghost?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I thought you said a goat.
Tune in next time for another edition of The Young and the Wimpy, when we hear Larry Booger say,
I thought it was a pretty good-looking goat.
Case dismissed.
The Morning Zoo Reunion. CBS-FM. Shannon in the morning. 101.1 CBS-FM.
Uh-oh. Mr. Leonard is next. Live and direct from the big show.
Flashing back to the 80s.
Hey, Scott!
The Morning Zoo Reunion on CBS-FM.
What a day. What an event. Thank you all for showing up today, despite the weather. I mean, it's not raining at least. That's a good deal. And I'm a little disappointed because
Why?
I was very excited that Mr. Leonard told me he was going to be at the reunion.
And you trusted that.
Oh, you should know better, Scott.
Mr. Leonard,
Yes. Scott?
where in the hell are you?
Hold on, brushing my teeth. I got spit.
Mr. Leonard.
Where am I?
Yeah, where are you?
I'm right here, Scott. I'm preparing for the big reunion show tomorrow. You know me. I'm always prepared. I prepare very very hard. I got my number one lime green slim fit suit ready, my cherry red shoes, and my yellow saddle stitching on there. And I was going to wear them for Ross's funeral, but you know what? I found
Ross's funeral? He's not even dead yet.
Yeah, no, that's what I figured out, stupid internet. Anyway, so you bet your bippy I'll be there tomorrow. Mr. Leonard will be on time and ready to go. For the
Wait a
big
minute,
reunion
wait a
show.
minute.
What?
Did you say tomorrow?
Who's that?
That was Ross.
He's alive.
Oh, hi, Ross. What are you doing there, Ross? The show's tomorrow. You're preparing to?
No, the show's today.
The show is not tomorrow.
We're on now.
Oh, my God. Well, who switched it? No one tells me anything.
Nobody switched it. Tomorrow is Saturday. We don't work on Saturday.
Well, that's right. We don't work on Saturday. I'm glad they switched it then. When
No one switched it, Mr. Leonard. The reunion show is today.
Oh, my God. Today? Right? You like right now today?
Yes, today.
Yes, we're on the air.
Oh, my God. Scott, you better call him and tell him you're going to be late. You too, Ross. If it's over, they probably started without you. Kurt's probably taking over.
Mr. Leonard, everybody's here.
My God. Well, what happened to the reunion show being tomorrow?
It's Saturday. We're not doing it. What I'm trying to tell you, the reunion show is on right now. There's a full audience here, and we're doing the show.
Hey, don't get mad at me, Scott. I'm not the one that switched it.
Nobody switched it, Mr. Leonard. We don't work tomorrow. It's Saturday. We got people all over the place. They're here listening to the show. They're pissed that there's no Mr. Leonard.
Oh, my God. I'm so sorry. Oh, crap. All right. I'm on my way right now, Scott. I'm just passed over to GW. It's backed up, so, it's going to be a little while.
Mr. Leonard, you're not on your way. You just said you were home.
Okay, dude. All right, so now I'm really going to be a little late, but it's not my fault. Whoever switched it, it's their fault.
No one switched it.
What do you know, Ross? You're probably the guy that switched it.
I didn't switch it.
We have a big crowd here, and the show's on the air.
Oh, my God. Okay, well, I better do the joke then. Are you ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
Okay, hey, Ross. What do you call an 80-year-old cheerleader?
An 80-year-old cheerleader? I don't know.
Yeah. Old Yeller.
Old Yeller.
Oh, my God.
Are you kidding?
That's a terrible joke, Mr. Leonard. Are you all right?
He thinks it's funny.
Yeah, he's laughing.
Oh, my God. All right, Mr. Leonard, I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow? Is it today?
Who switched it?
Who switched it?
Okay. Bye, Mr. Leonard.
Bye, Old Yeller.
Bye, Mr. Leonard.
Out of here. Oh, my God.
Oh, God.
Same old Mr. Leonard.
Yeah, he hasn't changed.
Same old.
It's a big show. Happy to be here. Good Lord Almighty. That's about it. I'm sorry. It's about a wrap on the big show. Thank you, everyone who showed up today. We appreciate it. Great job.
WCBS-FM and WCBS-FM HD1.
I love the music.
Celebrating 50 years of New York's greatest hits.
The greatest hits of all time.
An Odyssey station.